Hello, Striggity here. I'm doing a reply to the Renegade Killer Bees 13 question video with the MBTI. I identify as an ENTP. That's what I would have tested as during college. Kind of doubted myself and started looking at different things and was starting to test INTP um, with some variants later on, but the official test was ENTP in college, and that's where I circle back to. So running through the questions, what makes me angry? Oh, I can't see myself. Here we go. What makes me angry? Lots of things can make a person angry. For myself, I guess I don't necessarily care about the morality of what people believe and everything else like that, or even what people's goals are. But given a certain goal or given a certain statement, if you say I support this, or if you say I'm trying to affect this outcome, um, if it's very obvious that the logic that you're following, or if your subjective logic doesn't quite work, like if there's inconsistency, it's like you say, well, I support this in this way, and I'm all about this, and then like the evidence seems to be the contrary. It's like, do you really get, like, do you really, So, I like to analyze religions that way, or a lot of different things that way, and it can be religions that I have no problem with or would be willing to support, or different things, but like the inconsistencies. It's like, well, come on now, at least to have some sort of, and that's where I'll get argumentative. I love to study those things, but I can be kind of argumentative when it comes to something like that. The absolute truth is less important. It's the subjective, or the, however you want to say it that way. What do people most dislike, or what do I most dislike about people? Um, hmm. I most dislike when people try to depend on me or something. So I like hanging out with people and it just being chill. I like showing up when I want to show up. I like leaving when I want to leave. I like hanging when I want to hang. I like jetting when I want to jet. Um, I don't like expectations, social expectations. I abhor social expectations. That's what I don't like about people. Do I like animals, and why? Partial. Um, Not a big fan of pets from the pragmatic, I have to take care of them standpoint. I do see the affinity for dogs and horses, especially. They can be neat. Still not worth the work probably at this point, but they're definitely neat. And you seem like you can emotionally bond to them in some sort of manner, so that's interesting. But not worth the work in most situations. What do you like most about the favorite people in my life? The favorite people in my life are those people with whom I can be myself. Whatever myself is at that moment, it tends to change, or my wants of expression tend to change. Those people that I can show up when I show up, and they welcome me, um, and I run off when I run off, and they don't take offense, and I can be whoever I am that moment, and they're not surprised, or not they're actually open-minded enough to know that that was a possibility within me, or that was, yeah, I mean, they something like that, accommodating, but not controlling people, hopefully. Those are the favorite people in my life, that way. And obviously people with positive, with positive attributes, or different things I can look up to or gain from, or anything else like that, sure. But mainly that kind of situation. What do you dislike most about yourself? Um, I guess I like and dislike at the same point, the enigma that is self in my situation. Um, I do feel that I'm markedly different from most people, not necessarily always in a beneficial way, but the ways that I feel so I would then feel are beneficial. Like I just have such a broad array of interests and everything else like that that it just tends to be different than most. There are definitely people that are more intuitive or more zany yet in a different, but tends to be more focused way, or tends to be I'm just kind of like broad based. Um, Not necessarily like somebody that could like spit out a novel and just like generate a really intense and interesting novel out of thin air. I'm definitely not that creative to that extent. But that zaniness, or that whatever it is, also causes a listlessness, or it causes a person not to fit. So that's like darn. So it's a love hate. It's a love hate. I wouldn't want to change that part of who I am, but at the same time, sometimes I feel like I would just to belong. And then you watch sci-fi, so then if I could belong to if I could be like crew member of Stargate SG-1 or something like that, keep my Zanity, and then my vain zaniness. I'll call that Zanity. Okay, and take that, Gaga. So yeah, if I could keep my Zanity and be in Stargate SG-1, or be like in the Firefly, Serenity Firefly, if I could be on one of those crews or whatever, that would be really awesome. But that's my love hate, is like um, doesn't usually work as much in the real world, but I'll find it. Um, do you care about being fashionable? Why or why not? Yes and no. Um, Growing up, I detested fashion, because people tend to judge people over fashion. But at the same time, I've been obsessed with, like, I like business, or like I like formal. So what I don't like is, or what I haven't necessarily gotten into, is like every day trying to impress like everyday people. Like, I don't know, it has to be special. So either I want to dress like crap and not care about anything and be more pragmatic and practical. I want to wear torn jeans, not because they're torn, but because they got cool. I used to wear torn jeans like way before that. Like, my mom would feel bad for me and think that, I don't know, I just wore jeans till they just about fell off of me, because they were cheap. Buy them $20, they'd rip apart, keep wearing them. Um, but I just like clothes I can rip, get dirty, whatever, comfortable, functional, whatever. Or the flip side would be, I like, like really, I like neat presentation. I'm not good at it, but an aesthetic look, or a vain look is pretty interesting. I've been pretty interested in that. So it's either more all out or nothing. Um, that's what I think about fashion. For the most part, eclectic fashion can be part of your daily whatever. Um, do I prefer to fit in or stand out? Um, I prefer to just do what I do for whatever reason I do a lot of the time. I prefer to stand out when I want attention. So just by being me, I tend to stand out in some manner, although not necessarily always in like a, often in an odd way. If I'm not, like when I go to college with like a huge beard and crappy clothes and stuff like that, yeah, it stood out, but it wasn't necessarily positive attention. No, I was just, being, I was just exploring something in my life or whatever. So it's like, whatever. Um, but so I prefer to be me, which causes me to stand out often. Um, when I choose to stand out for the sake of standing out, it's because I want attention and I'm relishing it, and that's fun. But that's not always the case. So it's not always I'm looking for the attention, but I more often than not tend to stand out to some level in either the um, awkward sense the majority of the time, and then the occasional purposeful attention grab. So that, yeah, that would be. What activities do I enjoy? Reading, traveling, conversation. I used to read a lot, and I don't anymore because, like, I just haven't had time, which is kind of sad. So I need to read more. I did a ton of traveling in the last 5 years, all over. It was really neat. If I had money and didn't have to do the job thing, I would just blow money traveling. That's like as good as it gets. Um, I I don't know. I could probably do like I could do 20, 30 trips easy. Just sit down and okay, I could go to the Ukraine, or I could go, to South Africa, or I could go Eastern Europe. Lots of different places in Eastern Europe. I want to go to Turkey yet. I want to go to Egypt. Not so big on like the hot jungles of the world, but I've been to a few of those. So I love traveling, and I love meeting new people. I love my Spanish conversational group. That's like huge for my week. Um, there's like 30 people that talk Spanish, most of them higher than my level, but just a weird group of people that are all, I don't know, just shooting the breeze in a different language, and it's a lot of fun, and you get totally different perspectives, and it's totally new every time, and I love that novelty. Interrelational novelty, if I could just stop digressing, that's pretty cool. Speed this up. Let's see. What makes you feel secure? Oh boy, no, I can't speed this up. What makes me feel secure? Boy, I just in the really easy sense is like there are some clothing options that can make me feel secure. I like wearing a leather jacket. I feel tough if I wear a leather jacket. Not just for presentation, as like almost like restricting clothes, or not fully restricting clothes, but I like when clothes feel durable. I like leather. I like heavy canvas or Kevlar or something like that, or like I like that. It feels like you can. I like when it's 20 below outside and you put on you put on like some really cold weather gear and some wool and stuff like that, and you feel like, all right, I can take on the world. That makes me feel physically secure. Really what the question's addressing is probably emotional, interrelational security. Um, Having somebody to love that loves you unconditionally would definitely be an upside there. That's a big thing I've sought off and on. So that's yeah, unconditional love probably fits for everybody, but a little bit more difficult, or you can complain about it being more difficult if you're a little bit harder to understand. It's like, I don't know, you got so many facets, you show people certain facets, and they're not going to like this, and why you like that. So, but that'd be what would ultimately make me feel secure. To crunch that in the short form, um, I like groups of people that accept me for who I am. Warm. I like camaraderie, group camaraderie, um, and I like feeling the security of belonging to a group in that aspect. And then eventually I get sick of it for reasons X, Y, and Z and leave it anyhow. But I like that warmth and camaraderie. So security, I get security from interpersonal relationships. Um, if I'm more jaded or apathetic, then I'll seek security by myself in solitude. But healthy security would be in interpersonal relationships. Do you like being in a relationship? Why or why not? I pretty much just covered that. Oops. So yes, I do like being in a relationship. There are some downsides, but it causes a sense of security in many senses. I can be stronger. I can like reach a different strength outside of a relationship or something. I can be determined to. I can set myself up in a situation of apathy that's a little harder to set up while I'm in a relationship. So I can be a little bit more cold, distant, and apathetic outside of a relationship. But that's not a strength I want. Um, it's wrong. It's not me. I don't want to be that. It's just a defense mechanism. So would prefer. I prefer the relationships for the most part. Rough as even if they're miserable, probably actually. It's kind of silly. What do I love and why? Could be people, things, places, etc. What do I love? Um, the bounds of theory and imagination as it pertains to learning and sci-fi fantasy. Um, the objective world is stimulating as it is. Like the world that we actually live in is stimulating. But the theoretical world and the fantastical world of fantasy, fiction, TV series, books, everything else like that, it's a whole nother dimension that without that dimension, I don't even know. Like, I feel like if you took the theoretical and fiction, sci-fi, all that kind of stuff out of my life, you would transform me from a human being into a tree. That would pretty much dehumanize me. That's like my life that is my life essence. So yeah. Um, Interesting question. What do I spend time most time thinking about? Anything. I think about a lot of stuff. Um, I haven't figured out life's mysteries. I'm usually thinking about some theory or subset of problem solving. I'm usually problem solving for the midterm future. I'm not so worried about 100 years from now because it's not so applicable. I'm not so worried about eternity or some of these other things. I'm worried about applicable future. I'm worried about the problems I'm facing today that affect next week, next month, next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Yeah, that's what I think about. Um, that's what I think about all the time. So I'm always a week out to, I'm just kind of always, that's where my mind usually is. My mind's never never very happy staying on today. um, how much have I changed over the years, and who were you as a child, who was I as a child? um, I've changed over the years dramatically, and yet I'm stayed the same. I think if I look at my zest for anything and everything to do with learning and inter learning interactions, the whole gamut, I think I'm still the same kid that, I would just walk up to strangers in the grocery store and just start talking. I could talk. My parents always called me a jabberbox. I could just talk to anybody forever about anything. With the limits being is, yes, if I've covered the topic before and I've finally got to the point where I'm bored with this person or anything else like that. But given that there's new material, or even if it's boring, but it's the first time hearing a different perspective, or I'm still that person. But being that person, my viewpoints, my understandings, my entire thought process, so the manner that I approach life in general is pretty much the same. However, my actual established thinking processes, or my actual judgments and processes and structure of how I view the world, my view of the world, what I'm deciding the world slowly is always changing. What I would have thought to have been the case last week is different than what I would have thought to have been the week before, the year before, 5 years before, a decade before. So it's kind of funny to see, oh, well, when I was 16, I wrote this and I thought that. And then if I look at my Facebook, when I was 17, I thought that. And I thought I was smart. And like, boo, not smart. So, yeah, that's who I was as a child. And yeah, that's how that one fits. So that's my video. It's way longer than it should be. But all right, thanks for watching, everybody. Catch my channel if you want. Bye.